Alright, I'm gonna admit I'm not the best with shading either, but I do have a couple of tricks that help me personally. There's some methods I don't personally use that much, but I try my best to keep them in mind. Method number 1 requires perspective, like perspective grids or something like this, depending on how you're approaching that perspective. But when you know perspective drawing, you can plant a source of light. Let's say roughly, what if this was your source of light and that's what you want? So the light would go here, and the shadow would be over here, probably, if you did that. Okay, so let's start out simple first. This is the light. So you draw the shapes, the lines and stuff, and you make the 3D shape. So you make a note of the shadow, where the light would hit, and rounder objects. Also, distance matters. The closer it is, the darker it is. The further away it is, the less there is. Like with the shadow. Here's another one with an object directly covering it. Here's another light source and some lines over there to help guide you. I learned it during perspective class, so it was some practice and stuff. Like, these are my own practice stuff. Here's another one with more perspective and 2 objects on the floor. Another one where the light hits directly. This is kind of loosely applicated, but yes, I drew this from different perspectives, and that's another different kind of practice. Aerial view, this one, that one. Like, if you think about it from these points of perspective, it's kind of easier. It's just an example. There's one where it's a little more accurate with the distance, and this is an interior where I thought more about where the light would hit. There were no lights, and it was like theoretically daytime. You can see that. Okay, so then there's method 2. These are my personal methods I use. That may or may not be good. I'm sorry if you aren't a digital artist, but I kind of practice through my own original works, through Photoshop. So yeah, at first I did airbrush method, and that was not very good. So I started forcing myself to shade with hard lines, like cell shading. For example, here's this poorly drawn hand, because I drew it with a mouse. I don't have my tablet on me. So for example, I would do hard shading with cell shading like this, and then I started just erasing the edges. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is the digital method. Now part of it is always remembering there is a hard edge and a soft edge to a shadow. And now, of course, references are always important, but especially black and white images. Say if there's a problem drawing it through imagination, you might have to do this perspective grid method. That might be the most effective one. Because for me, perspective drawing helped me the most. So the first method, like putting the horizon line, point of reference. Don't do what I'm doing, it's very loose. Put it through here. Decide which point the light would hit, and then an object. Simple shapes first, complicated shapes later.